Hi there, welcome to Night Timeline Talks. We awake with a story about Middle East or Mid-East, where some allies of the United States are complaining that they don't have enough support from the American troops located in Ukraine. But they are there. What happens is, if you remember, President Trump moved some soldiers to other areas. And right now, the Secretary of Defense is sending 2,000 troops there to stabilize the situation. And it was something coming on. When I saw the international prices of oil sinking and looking the never expected, going to under zero, I was expecting a conflict on the region. Now, meanwhile, the powerful countries, Saudi Arabia and many situations, come back on track. It is going to be a good, very, very good situation for Mexico, because the conflict is affecting the distribution of oil worldwide. Prices are going to rise, and that extra production that Mexico denies to reduce is going to become important, because the situation is that the experts are calling now, in the middle of the pandemic, for stabilization on the oil markets. But it's not something easy to do. It's not something that a politician comes up and say, hey, let's go to put the price for barrel to this price. No. Is something derivated of many negotiations. Some of them under the table, other ones are over the table in front of the cameras, but everybody is going to be shaking, because negotiations are not the same way they used to be. Negotiations are going to have a lot to do with the military force. And Ukraine and that areas are also strategic areas for Russia. Remember that Russians likes to influence the gas in Ukraine. In fact, the Ukraine gas is the one that hits houses and industry on European Union. So it is going to move many aspects of the economies, but it is not the best way to do that now. On the middle of the pandemic is very risky. Is unexpected negotiation that is going to be forced by some countries. And if Russia decides send troops to the area where also Kurds and Syrians and many countries are fighting, it is going to be a different perspective. Right now is around 1340 Eastern Standard Time. On the Middle East is midnight, in Ukraine 7 hours, 9-10 p.m. And nobody has a clear idea what really is going on. So what we really have is the first reports. Shepard Smith, who back to Fox News, he resigned less than 6 months ago, and now he's back. And I am so glad because he's a very good journalist. He's the voice of the news. He has a wonderful way and talent to broadcast the news. Nobody like Shepard Smith, believe me. He's a real voice for the news. And he is broadcasting since early in the morning and taking over a lot of breaking news reports on a very busy day, because the uncertainty on this announced Ukraine reporting that they are surviving some attacks, it is something hard, very hard to solve right away. And the mobilization of troops from Europe, specifically from Germany, to the area is going to take few hours, probably before midnight Eastern Standard Time. It is going to be an answer, one of the political answers from President Trump to the world. But in the meantime, wildfires, the heat brought the wildfires to California, and the governor on that state closed the restaurant and beaches around the touristic places. Imperial Beach, Coronado, and many places are closed again. Even they opened last week, they have to close again because nobody respects the social distance. Nobody follow up on the safety and protection against the coronavirus. So many situations are turning over and influencing our lives. The polemics about Michigan. In Michigan, 146 people passed away yesterday of coronavirus, and they like back to business. So many situations are turning over. And if we analyze other countries, it's the same way. For example, in Mexico, there is no way to respect the pandemic because people survive. 101 every day, they make their income. They need to look for an income to survive, to eat something. Is something hard. And the promise of the official help from President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is not available yet for the people who really need it. They just complete the delivery of the deposits for elderly people. Starting today, some students haven't received their help, but the students can't work, honestly. Elders, they are ill, they really need the help. But young people, if they work, as many people call them ninis, is a nickname, because ninis means no work, no study, ni estudian, ni trabajan. They don't work, they don't study, and they don't do anything. And they are receiving around 2,000 pesos every month, little bit more than $150. So they have money to buy some things, but they don't invest it on books and school. And no, They use it to buy beer and have fun. Who cares? It's free money. They don't have to work. And Mexican cities have a huge problem with security. They can help in social programs to keep cities safe. No way, they don't do it. As well, they don't clean the sidewalks. Government has to pay extra to all people to clean streets and sidewalks on every city. So many politicians are speaking out and giving their personal opinion about the way the President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is planning their own measures without a consultation from the Congress, senators, etc. The Mexican president is approaching the political force he acquired with 30 million votes that he won legally on the election. But he is losing, like running water, those votes and the confidence from Mexican citizens because he is not doing enough to control the drug cartels that are still kidnapping, killing people, distributing drugs, and making of the Mexican-American border the most dangerous place on earth to make their own manipulation there. And the next step is pass to America, as they are doing all the time, and smuggle drugs, smuggle people, because they handle prostitution rings, they handle drugs, gangs in America too. So López Obrador is not helping. Probably he controls partially the caravans, but drug cartels are still passing. Mexican-American border is long enough. Is one of the longest in the world and the most transit border by legal and undocumented immigration. And that is affecting also Mexico right now because President Trump closed partially the border for 90 days, but he affects the people who cross legally to help on the border cities with commerce, to work, to do business. And many people come to America. They cross from the Mexican town to the American town, doing a lot of business that benefit the cities on the American side. What is happening right now is that the economy there is affected because many Mexicans come to America to do groceries, to buy their clothes, to do many activities, and they go back in the afternoon to Mexican side. And this is the way they alternate. But with this pandemic, tough measures, everything is affected. Plus, if you put the cherry on the cake called drug dealers taking over the border, it's not good. They are taking advantage of the control, but they are affecting the honest Mexicans. They are affecting the honest Americans who do international business every single day. That is not the right way. And President Andrés Manuel López Obrador lost a lot of confidence when he forgave the son of El Chapo Guzman. He was captured by the Mexican army and they had to release An hour later, because they start to attack, a lot of gunmen came out to the street with machine guns. El Chapo gave to them free for in case some of the elite of those cartel members is detained. And the president says, okay, release it. We are going to follow our policy that don't shoot, hug them. Abrazos, no balazos. Hugs, no gunshots. And he believes that that is going to change the strategy and is going to make drug dealers change their policies. And I believe that the results are on the Mexican streets and the American streets, where more drugs than ever are circulating. This pandemic brought to America a lot of social crisis. The quarantine is affecting emotionally to many American citizens. Many of them are drinking. Many of them are looking for help, but some don't have enough help, psychological help or medication. And on their desperation to find the right help, they fall or back to the use of illegal drugs. And that is huge. America is stepping back 20 years with these 60 days of pandemic, because the distribution of illegal drugs by the Mexican cartels are saturating the markets. And is the way Mexican cartels like to do it. They like to create dependency to those drugs, because with that dependency, American government is going to have a lot of trouble to attack and control drug cartels. Meanwhile, more drugs they sell on the American streets, and these drugs, illegal drugs consumption, grow in the American society, the American families, the young people, as most hard is going to be for the federal government to stop it. And there are, sorry for mentioning, I promise as journalists never mention this word, but the number of suicides is rising in tremendous amounts, including professionals, physicians. We have cases of nice people who is falling on desperation, consuming drugs, alcohol, and they commit suicide. It's so hard. And President Trump has no allies. Everybody's attacking him. Politicians, congressmen, state governors, everybody is using this opportunity to acquire fame, stupid fame, and votes that are not representing help and honesty on a real situation. United States of America is falling. United States of America is facing one of the worst times on their life. And President Trump mentioned 3 weeks ago that drug cartels are sinking drugs everywhere in America, because they know every social crisis increase the consumption of illegal drugs. And nobody cares. Army makes some announcements to increase security along the Mexican-American border. But with these conflicts in the Mid East, with the oil markets shaking and burning, United States is going to detour troops there. And drug cartels are going to optimize that situation for their own benefit. And Americans are lost on track. They believe the pandemic solution is a responsibility of Donald Trump. Few people is helping, some families, but others are falling in the addiction. And this addiction is hard to take away. And once they start to consume those drugs, they become more addictive. And the big problem after the pandemic, with these huge unemployment numbers, is going to be on more homeless on the streets, more homeless stealing, more homeless giving trouble, and becoming a new target for the coronavirus. So when President Trump speaks, many people make fun. Okay, he makes jokes. Like, for example, today, he mentioned that a baby was in the room, and he was questioning about if the baby liked to speak if he likes to talk with him or speak on the microphone and say something to the nation. He has nice occurrences. People criticize that, but on the deepest part of the messages every day is not a press release. Every day that he announced something new on regard of this pandemic is not a single page on the book. It's a step that if we pay attention, we can take a step over and resolve a conflict every day, or it can be translated as a step down for some people who don't care. Some people that don't assume their own responsibility, and they say, oh, decline everything on this president or let him fail, because they like other political party preference. But this situation is not a political party preference. This situation is that if President Trump fails, we fail with him. In many aspects, is the truth, and we must be careful. So, situations are happening every hour, worldwide. And every time we have a new announcement, we haven't resolved the previous problem when something new is happening. Now, Honda, the car manufacturer, recognized that the United States, even they have enough respirators in some areas, they are going to do more to help the population. Because President Trump, he announced that he is going to do the delivery of extra respirators to allied countries to help them to survive this pandemic and cure the people who is infected. More than 1,200,000 infected people is a lot, because every infected people could be jeopardize another 10 people, and the chain grows in all directions. So I believe is the perfect time to make an introspection and face the own reality, not the reality of what is happening on the news, on the broadcast every hour, what is spectacular, what is no, in our environment. Make an introspection to see, well, do I make enough savings for the future? Because situation is coming worse. Do I have a job safety? Because I need my income and my family needs my income. The medical insurance is very important on these times. And not everybody thinks about that. Many people say, oh no, Bernie Sanders says free insurance for everyone, free education for everyone. Yes, where is the money to afford? If the American government has to make more money to afford this pandemic and help everyone, and help the army and the strategic forces to maintain the peace on the world, because United States is the only country who cares about the worldwide security. Many people say it's the opposite. Oh no, United States make wars everywhere. They like to influence somewhere. They send soldiers and they attack countries. No. Just make this analysis. Imagine the world in the hands of Saddam Hussein or in the hands of Taliban, where ladies has no rights. They bury ladies through their neck for infidelities. And everybody go and pee over the face of that lady. And they hit her head. No. Some countries have no respect for ladies, for families. And some people in America don't understand that. Including China. China has the worst intelligence and espionage system in the world. And once they capture somebody they consider a betrayer or enemy of the system, they take that person and his family to the concentration camps, and they never back again to the normal life. If you see Chinese people, every young man wants to study in American university because that is the best it can happen on their life. Why? Because they know if they stay in China and they make a small mistake, they could be the rest of their life in a concentration camp and they will never see freedom again. And every day is more close what we announced on this show for radio in February. Before February 20, I broadcast in Spanish about the possibility of the coronavirus was taken out of the government lab on Wuhan, that Chinese city. And now many reports point that way. And if Chinese do that intentionally, they try to say that it was an accident. But that is the way they can say to manipulate the situation and avoid problems with international countries that lost a lot with this pandemic, like Italy, Spain, Britain, many countries, United States. United States, since President Bill Clinton declared China the most privileged country. Remember the conflicts on the Tiananmen Square? When students faced the tanks and tried to stop the repression. Well, after that conflicts, United States tried to bring peace to China. And China take over that people and put them on the concentration camps. And United States send more jobs to China and declare China like the most privileged country in the world. That means that United States invests a lot of money in manufacturing companies in China. And they grow a lot. They make a lot of money because what's the fever of the computer bubble? Everybody likes to have a cellular phone. Everybody likes to have a tablet. Everyone likes to have an earphone, a microphone, a laptop, whatever. Everything is being made in China. Hewlett Packard, Apple, whatever. Smartphones. So China approach all that production and take over. And now what is happening, they have enough money and they can control the world. So Chinese government recognized that in the 1970s they have small aldeas, small towns, small villas of farmers. They don't have the cities they have right now. They don't have the expressways. They don't have even cars. They have horses, donkeys, and it's all they have. And they start to grow, and reinvest the money and make more money. And now they come from emerging market to a world potency. Now China sits face to face with the United States and Russia and negotiate and influence many things happening worldwide. And they don't care. Why? Many years ago, Japan was in charge of the security of China. Japanese army takes care of save China. But after Pearl Harbor, Japan has to give the arm to twist, and they can't have an army anymore. Do the agreements the Imperator on Japan makes with the American government. So everything changed. China started to manufacture and acquire military equipment. China started to recruit army personnel, navy personnel, and now China takes care of the safety on the whole region. Even they already take over an island that's supposed to be a Japanese territory. So everything is coming in a different perspective. And I hope this conflict in the Middle East is only to adjust the oil prices and don't go beyond. Because the world don't need more problems. This world is tired of political situations. This world is really affected by many factors surrounding the pandemic, the worldwide politics, the oil prices, etc., etc. So the reflection is, don't criticize, help to do your own part. You know what I loved I saw in the public park? I saw a young man that was with a Clorox towels cleaning all the benches so people can sit happy again and don't jeopardize to be contaminated by coronavirus. So if everybody does a small thing, everything will be in proportion big challenge for the rest of the country and the rest of the world. Let's go to restore the credibility. And remember, President don't has to resolve everything. Even Lopez Obrador, even Donald Trump, even Trudeau. No, we the citizens, we have to contribute and do our part to take this situation under control. Lord bless the world. Lord bless Latin America. And Lord bless USA. Thank you, and I talk to you tomorrow. Have a blessed night.